Welcome to today's video where we're actually going to be going over a pistol strat run by Mousesports during EPL on Vertigo. So this is quite interesting to me because I don't think I've actually seen a team run a strategy like this. So we're flying through, we can see ropz is currently sat on the stairs, and then there was a player going towards mid, and the rest of his team have actually gone towards the A ramp as shown here. So the uniqueness about this is that they actually turn this into a typical attack up the A ramp towards the scaffolding area, into a bit more of an A split via mid, but the mid section of it is actually played silently, which I thought was quite, one, it was quite unique, and two, is actually very, very unexpected, because either they get the rotate kills or they act as a great backstab to what was originally an A attack. So from this camera view we actually see the smoke landing that ropz throws, as well as the player actually getting killed, and then we also see the impact of the attack on elevator. Whilst all this is happening, you can see the T-side players lurking through middle. You could argue that a rotate through middle from an actual B-side player would catch these guys on their way through, but instead it works in this instance as a perfect backstab, as shown by ropz's play. Thanks to their earlier efforts, they are actually able to capitalise and take the round in the end. So the first player we're going to show is BYMAS. So he is one of the players actually going through middle alongside ropz. So his actual play through this is just to simply be quiet but also hold for any pushes that come through. So you could argue that you could take this how you feel, depending on if you hear any noises or anything like that, but you should probably make sure that you work in pairs here. Once ropz has done his smoke, he joins up with him and they start actually moving forward in mid. So you got to make sure that you do jiggle the angles appropriately, because then you can maybe catch out CT side players that are out there. It is worth noting as well, you need to make sure you do have your actual speakers set to high sound at least here, because this is definitely a case where if you hear the rotate, you can probably move slightly faster than you would normally expect to. The second player shown is ropz, so I did include a tiny bit at the start there where he did drop a P250 and he lines up in between the railing gap with the actual second AC unit on the building across. Quite an interesting one, but go back, you'll actually be able to see it a bit cleanly now that I've mentioned it. So this is actually a really good position because you're able to actually watch any B aggression through the actual staircase as well, but it is also the location where you will smoke from. So from that, after throwing the smoke, which you can see it landed in the top left, he joins up with the BYMAS and actually starts walking through mid. With ropz having no armor, he actually is the leading man in the situation, just because then BYMAS can trade him. Instead, the opposite occurs, and ropz trades BYMAS. And a very underrated position used by ropz here in a post plan actually allows you to see the CT player advancing forward before he actually sees you. You can see his head through the little gap. The third player shown is Frozen, the man who is gifted the P250. In this instance he doesn't do too crazily good with it, but I think he does appropriately well, as he does take the long distance battles and actually does a lot of damage. Once they've achieved scaffold control, he and his teammate acoR get ready to actually push based off of dexter's flashbang. Once again, it's similar to the ropz BYMAS situation where Frozen with a P250 should lead, as he might be able to land the first shot more accurately than the Glock. Following dexter's flashbang through the smoke, they push through. Frozen's able to get one, but he is ultimately traded. Next up is Dexter, of course, the newfound IGL of the squad. So he has a set of grenades as well. He has 2 flashbangs as well as a smoke. In this actual video, he does not use the smoke, but I imagine this is more for a if things go wrong situation, because it wasn't actually used on the execute itself. It's pretty clear as well there is no specific lineup for the flashbangs used, and more just a case of knowing where to aim for, knowing where it will pop. So for this one, for example, he just aims slightly above and then he will running through. The same thing will occur for this smoke, as he does a slight little run forward as he throws. He acts very patiently in this, due to wondering if there is actually more players around on the CT side. As well as seeing one grenade go off, he delays even further for the plan. He plays the 1v2 with ropz really well, because he knows what he needs to do in terms of getting information and when not to, and they actually do succeed in winning the round. The final player shown is acoR. So he's the other player with Frozen, he just has armor with his Glock, and I'll be honest, he gets very, very unfortunate in the round. He does basically the exact same path that Frozen does, but unfortunately he will actually die very early on, as he is one of the players that gets killed by the blinded player in elevator.